Hello, we're live. I'm just having a few technical difficulties. Surprise, surprise. I am not sure why my microphone wasn't working on my computer. So hopefully it's going to work for my Facebook viewers. So welcome to our live session today. And today's session is all about, of course, it's a Monday mindset. And so it's all about mindset. Our minds are so powerful. They really project our outcomes in life. So today we're going to talk about what it means to be present. I'm sure many of you out there have heard different things about being present, about meditation and how that might be able to help you. And so we're going to go through a few of the things that we use in the program that I offer online. And so we'll just let everybody kind of jump on, give a couple more minutes for people to join. In the meantime, one of my favorite ways to become present is to bring in support, right? So often I hear from my clients that they're wanting to meditate or they're wanting to be more present and have a kind of mindfulness practice, but they don't know how, or as soon as they stop, their anxiety spikes. As soon as they stop, their brains and minds start running and they can't control it, they can't shut it off. So that's what the practice is all about, right? So it doesn't just happen overnight that you start practicing and you're just going to know how to be present at any time. It takes practice, and that is the whole point of my program, is to help people infuse their lives with these little mini practices that they can bring into their day. It doesn't have to take an hour and a half. It can be 5 minutes or less. Sometimes 2 minutes can change your overall energy and the way that you feel. And then in turn, change your outcomes, change what you're attracting into your life. Okay, so a couple tricks. We'll start with just a few little tricks while people are jumping on. One of my favorite ones is the essential oil. It's a blend by doTERRA and it's called In Tune. And so it's a blend of quite a few different oils. It's got ylang ylang, sandalwood, patchouli, frankincense, Roman chamomile. And so I offer this one a lot in my classes because I find it really brings my students and myself into the present moment without worrying about this or what's happening next or thinking about what happened earlier, right? So we talk a lot about what it means to be present, and when we're kind of ruminating in our minds about what's happened in the past, we can get depressive thoughts. For myself, going over the mistakes I've made or how I might have done something differently and it would have changed an outcome, or I hope I didn't hurt that person, or they're mad at me and I don't know why, whatever it might be, right? So really, is that helping us to sit in that rumination of negativity? So leaving the past in the past, that's part of the practice. And we work on this a lot in the online program. The other thing that we do as humans is we ruminate or obsess over the future, right? So anyone out there not do this, where they're like, oh, I need to do this, or I should do that, or what if I don't do this? What if? Anyone? Because if so, you've probably already got a very strong practice of being present. So same idea for the future. It can cause anxiety in people, in the body. It can cause anxiety. It can actually increase your nervous system response into a hyperactive state. And you're then in this stress response just by your thoughts alone. And so the body and mind don't know the difference between whether it's real or not. So if you're sitting in depressive thoughts of the past and how you should have changed this or should have changed that, your body and mind are sitting in that energy and reacting as if it's real. And so that means all of everything that's firing, all of the pathways in the brain, all of the pathways in the body are reacting like there's a threat, right? Because the brain is saying, the mind is saying that there's a threat. Same with the future. What if this happens, or what if that happens? So the practice of being present, we're going to get into a little bit more detail on this today. Like I said, I do cover it in, like we practice it in excessive amount in the program, which I think is important because it does take practice, and it takes a retraining of the mind and body to allow yourself to be in the present moment. So welcome everybody that's joined. Raj, nice to see you, and Mia and Eddie, nice. Welcome you guys, thank you so much for joining. So one of the things that I've noticed for myself, it's kind of like an annoyance, I guess, in life, is that, I say this quite often, is that we were not taught these things to be healthy. And I think that it was kind of, just the era of people, or, we kind of lacked spiritual connection in our culture. There's a lot of fear projection, in my opinion. And I know from my own work that I've done in my own practice that as soon as we project the fear, that's what you're going to get, right? So it's kind of upsetting, but I think things are coming around that we can offer this kind of stuff to our kids. We can offer this kind of stuff to our loved ones, that there is a way to live a life full of ease. It doesn't have to be diseased or, depression, all of these mental health issues. It doesn't have to be that way. And I think we're lost as a culture and we don't know what to do, right? So we're going to the doctor, we're taking medications, we're struggling, and we're getting more stressed out because we don't know what to do. And so this is why I am so motivated to share this with other people who are suffering not only from chronic pain, but chronic conditions, disease in the body or mind. And from my experience, I know that this is the answer for me. I won't say it's the answer for everyone because I can't speak to that, but I know that this was what I was missing. I was missing a sense of calm and peace, a place to come within myself that felt balanced on all levels. So we talk about this a lot in the program as well, about addressing all layers of our being. So not just our physical layer or not just our mental layer. And I think in the West, that's how it's set up, is to, isolate what's wrong, say it's a broken arm, and then we just address the broken arm, right? But what was really going on for that person? What was the emotional state of that person? How were they thinking? All of those energetic layers. How can we look more at the root cause of what's happening to then heal and to provide that more stable foundation for moving through life? Of course, accidents happen, of course, but I still believe that those are an energetic thing as well, from my own experience. So, practice is key. And I think this is one of the things, like, do you guys have a resistance to practicing something healthy? If there's anyone out there that's feeling like you get in your own way and you just don't feel like practicing for yourself, whether it's like a physical practice, maybe it's a meditation, mental practice, breath practice, anybody like get in their own way out there? Because I know I do, and I know that a lot of my clients, that's one of the biggest things that they say would be one of their roadblocks, is their own self getting in the way of letting them choose to be happy, choose to be healthy. Because often they put themselves aside and think that they need to show up for other people first, right? So this is all the work that we do in the Yoga Therapy to Heal Freedom Formula program. And so if you're someone who's just at that point that you're sick of it, you're kind of like, okay, I've tried everything, I'm still in chronic pain, it's getting worse, I don't get answers anywhere I go, I just end up in a worse condition than I was before. That's what happened to me, and I was getting more hopeless and kind of more helpless over time, where I just started to feel like anyone that I reached out to for help ended up actually hurting me more. And that was a pretty scary place to be, where I felt like everyone had their own agenda. So I got to a rock bottom where I had to choose me. I couldn't reach out to somebody else anymore. I couldn't ask them because I didn't trust that they had my best interest at heart anymore anyways. And so that's where I needed to go. I needed to be at that place of rock bottom to finally get to a point where it was like kind of live or die. You know, like I was at a point of not even realizing how depressed I was, not even realizing how scary of a position I was in life. And when I realized how low that was and how scary that was is when I chose to change. But I had to make that choice. I was still in this mindset of reaching out to everybody else, right? And so I think my story, and I think that my experience was a long and hard enough road that I am a result. Like, I'm a person who got to the other side of it. I'm a person that is now living in a way that I feel happiness daily. I feel joy. I feel calm. I feel peace. I don't feel anxious. I don't feel depressed. I don't feel low energy. I don't feel all the pain in my body. It's just not there anymore. Yes, of course, there's still times where there's a little bit of a dip here and there, but I have the tools to address it when it comes up, where before I didn't know what to do. And so one of those tools is to be present, and that's part of the yoga therapy practice. And so a lot of people think yoga therapy means, you know, getting into all those bendy shapes on the mat, and it's really not. That's such a small piece of it. But to be present and to choose to be present is the main number one thing that you would do in practice. You can choose to let your thoughts kind of take over your energy, take over your outcomes. But I think for me, the shift happened when I realized that I'm not my thoughts. So that one can be a little bit hard for people to conceptualize sometimes, is that the thoughts that are going through the mind are your ego. It's simply the what ifs. It's the what fors or what should haves, or all of those negative thoughts. And they have an energy. And so if we actually choose to take them on ourselves and decide that that is what we think, suddenly we are our thoughts, right? So if you can take yourself to a position that's a little bit more of an observer, of a place that is observing the thoughts with no attachment to what they are, with no judgment about what they are, and you can just let them come and let them go without interrupting your energy, without interrupting your state of being. That is the practice. So I'll share a story about my dad. So when he was sick he had been diagnosed with cancer, leukemia, and it was pretty sudden. It was pretty, Raj knows this whole story, of course, because you were right there with us the whole time, and we'll always love and appreciate you for that. You were such a great support. But he tried to meditate. We went to a couple retreats where he, that's what they were telling him to do, is kind of de-stress and meditate. And at the time, meditation wasn't a very mainstream thing in our culture. So he'd never really experienced it before, and he didn't know what to do. And if anything, he actually just got more frustrated. He got more stressed out because he felt like he needed to be able to do this thing, this meditation thing. And he was, broken in some way because he wasn't able to do it. And I think that's the scary part of our culture, is that it can feel like that. But that's the whole point, is meeting yourself where you're at. This is the practice, without judgment, without attachment to the outcome. That is to be truly present. Whatever is there, whatever thoughts are floating by, negative or positive, just allowing them to be. And they're there for information, but it doesn't have to be negative information. It can actually be helpful information. And so this is the work we do in the program, is we look at the thoughts, we start to notice what ones are coming more often or really kind of deep rooted. that are not supportive. And we try to let go. That's the whole practice, is letting go of the things that no longer work or the things that no longer support you. And then infusing your life with the things that do. And so it might sound overwhelming and like a lot right now, but I can guarantee you, if you did 5 minutes a day, your life would change. I would guarantee that. If you truly put 5 minutes a day into a meditation or being present practice, your life would change. So does anyone out there already have a meditation practice or a mindfulness practice? Do you know what it means to be present? We already talked about it. So not living in the past, not living in the future, and then coming into the present moment and noticing what's real in the present moment, right? So usually when we're living in the past or future, things can look pretty scary in our own heads. But when we come back into reality and we're in the present moment of what's true, there's nothing wrong. I'm just sitting here in a chair in a room that's beautifully decorated how I wanted it. And there's so many positive things to be enjoyed in the present moment. So slowing down, these are a few little tips that I'll leave you with today. Is if you choose to try this, try a meditation practice. The Insight Timer is a great app. I have some free ones on there if you want to stick with kind of my voice. There's Sarah Blondin, who I've suggested before. She's wonderful. I love how she really guides you into a place of positivity. And there's other apps out there too. And then the other thing to do that I noticed for myself when I stopped being present is slow down. How many of us just move from thought to thought to thought, activity to activity to activity, without even thinking about what we're doing, right? That's our culture. That's what we do here in the West. For whatever reason, it's set up that way. So I challenge you to slow down, to give yourself permission to slow down, to breathe. Yes, Mia, I think we all do. Like even myself, just that reminder, it just slowed me right down into a different energy, a more calm energy. And then you might even breathe. That would be crazy. Take some nice deep breaths in through the nose, out of the mouth or nose. And then without judgment, see what happens. What thoughts start to come in first? Just observe without attaching to the thought and running away with it and then getting up and going to finish this or do that to appease the thought. See if you can just observe the thoughts and sit in stillness, sit in breathing mindfully. So I would love to hear your experience with it. I would love for you to reach out if you are feeling like you struggle with it. I can maybe help support you in reframing into a more positive outlook or positive mindset. And once you start doing it, it actually feels so good that you just don't want to stop. That's how I'm feeling right now, is sometimes it just feels so nice to be present. Forget all the to-dos and forget all the what-ifs and just be, right? Very powerful stuff. I have put a link in the comments for a YouTube video by Dan Harris, and it's called Hack Your Brain's Default Mode. And he speaks a little bit more scientifically to what's happening with the neuroscience and, when we meditate, what actually is happening in the brain. So watch that if it's of interest. The one thing that really stood out to me was that when we meditate, we actually produce more gray matter in the brain, in the area of the brain that's responsible for happiness. So we actually start to grow our brain into a place that it's going to be more powerful. The happiness will take over. It will reroute to that because the gray matter is literally growing into that place. So there's a lot of science behind this stuff. It's not just, a mainstream hoopla or whatever you might call it. It works. So if you're interested in learning more about why we're doing this, the other ways that we use the body and mind to support ourselves in getting out of pain, I'm doing a free webinar or a free workshop online. I do them about once a month. The next one is May 17th. So if you'd like to join that, you can sign up. There's a link also in the comments to register for that. And if you just don't even want more information before jumping on a call with me, then feel free to reach out and set up a call. If you feel like you're really ready to just take this on and, see if the program is right for you, then give me a shout. You'd have to give me an email first or sign up for the call first, and then I will call you and spend 45 minutes with you to figure out if the program is a good fit for you or not. And I will leave you with that. Enjoy being present today. One little last tip that I give my clients, it was actually handed down to me by a teacher once. Every time you walk into a new room, stop, feel your feet on the ground, take a few deep breaths, and be present. Then continue on with your day. It's a nice way to infuse your day by slowing down. There's no rush, there's no need to stress. You'll still get there. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you guys being here live. It was nice to see you guys. Aw, you bet, Mia. It was nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Bye, Raj. Nice to see you. Natty, thanks for joining. And we will catch you on another Monday live or in the workshop or on a call. So have a wonderful day, being present, and breathe.